Okay. We found an anomaly with the program. If I try to replace drone here, drone, with atmospheres, what I need to do is Command Shift, click and drag. And notice how this will turn white, but that one is not turning white. What we have to do is make sure that, well, this region right here is not showing up in the region list. We have to turn on show auto-created regions. So now when I select this region, it'll highlight over here. So now when I drag drone, I can Command Shift click on it. It highlights it and said, now all instances of this region, yes. On this track, absolutely. All tracks, not necessarily. Maybe this track. And we're going to say the original length. So now anytime where it said atmospheres, it's completely replaced with drone. Okay, that's what we've got going with this guy. So we've now replaced drone sound, we've replaced atmospheres with drone. The reason, the practical application of that is if the director comes in and says, I don't like that sound, I need to replace it with something else, in one step I can replace all instances of that sound. It sure beats having to re-edit and re-edit and re-edit and re-edit and re-edit and re-edit. This is a very fast way to do it. You need to build like you took forever, but you need to take 2 or 3 seconds to do it. Okay, what's after drone? All right, so let's go to the sound effects track, which is up here, SFX track. I'm going to locate to memory location 1, which is right here. And now what I'm going to do is set my, I need to put memory locations 2 seconds apart. And the SMPTE time code always start with hours, minutes, and seconds. So I'm going to click here and type in a 02, enter. Zoom in on that screen a little bit by hitting command brackets. I'm going to hit the plus key to nudge 2 seconds in the future and place memory locations. And now I've got 10 seconds of memory locations 2 seconds apart. All right, now I have to take guns and edit it into 3 separate guns, right? So I'm going to take the guns file, put it on the SFX track, and you'll notice that it's 3 gunshots in one region. I need to make this now 3 editable regions. The first thing you do is we never edit a transition, we never edit a region so that we're right on the transition, the transient. So what I'm going to do is set my nudge value back to 1 frame, which is Command Option minus to go back to 1 frame. I'm going to zoom in on this area and hit the Tab key. That takes me to the start of the region. Then using Command Option Tab, I'm toggling on and off Tab to Transient. I want Tab to Transient on. I'm going to hit the Tab key. Now, since I want a 1 frame fade in to avoid glitches, clicks, ticks, and pops, I'm going to nudge back 1 frame. Hello. Hours, minutes, seconds. All right, let's go to frames, shall we? There we go. Hit Tab to Transient, back it off 1 frame, and delete everything in front of it. The way to get to the next transient, click anywhere over here, hit the Tab key, back it off a frame, Command E. Click over here, Tab to Transient, back it off a frame, Command E. Now I've got 3 separate guns that are very editable. I've got that gun, and that gun. Very easily editable. The next step is to take the 3rd gun and snap the tail of the 3rd gun to memory location 20. So let me fill the screen with this area. Get to memory location 20 first. So period 20 period on the keypad. My insertion cursor's here. I need to snap the tail of this guy to memory location 20. So with the F8 tool selected, I'm going to Command Control click on the region, and the tail snaps to memory location 20. The next step is to snap the sync mark of gun number of this gun, the 2nd gun. The thing is, I don't have a sync mark in there. So what I'm going to do is with the F7 tool, click, hit Tab. That takes me to the start of the region. Hit Tab again. That takes me to the transient because I have this Tab to Transients turned on. To place a sync mark, I hit Command comma, and that places a green triangle on the transient. Now all I have to do is with the F8 tool, I'm going to move this guy up to my edit track, go to memory location 21, keypad period 21 period, and then Control Shift click, and now this green triangle is on memory location 21. And the last one is I have to snap the head of this gun to memory location 22. Locate to 22, period, 22, period, and then control click on the region, and the start of the region is right on that. And if you want to get extra anal, hit the minus key to put the transient right on that marker. Okay, it's a really good idea to have at least one frame pre-roll, because now, in order to avoid glitches, clicks, ticks, and pops, I highlight all of them and I put a one frame fade into all these devices. Now every single region in this whole edit has got a one frame pre-roll, and it hasn't affected the transient, and I don't have glitches, clicks, ticks, or pops. Great. What's next? All right, so I've got to bring up the memory location window, which is Command Keypad 5, and I have to delete memory location 19. All I have to do is press and hold the Option key. See how the the pointer turns to an eraser tool. Click 19 and it's gone. All right, now to locate to number 3, all I have to do is click on it, and there I am at number 3. Whichever one I click on, it jumps to that area. In this case, I have to go to memory location number 3. Okay. Okay, so on sound effects 1, I need to take city sound. So city 1, that when I drag it from the region list, city 1, that it snaps to memory location 3. So in order to do that, all I have to do, much like snapping an event, if I press and hold the control key, notice how it doesn't do jack for me. All right, press and hold control, and where is it? I'm in slip mode. If I hit city 1, it goes there. Where's my insertion cursor? Period 3, period. Press and hold. Oh, there we go. I was at a wrong memory location. Apparently, I was way out there somewhere. So, as I bring it in, I press and hold the control key, click and drag city 1. See how it snaps right to it? I can't put it anywhere else. Now, the thing is, the modifiers still hold true. So just for grits and shins, let's go to memory location 5. If I control drag it, the head snaps to that area. Now on this next track, I'm going to snap the tail. So I'm going to control command drag it and see how the tail snaps to there. If I just so happen to have a sync mark somewhere in the middle, watch what happens. When I control shift, click and drag, oh, my insertion cursor's there. Let's put it back on 5. If I control shift, click and drag it from the region list, the sync mark snaps to that area. So all 3 of those commands are still very applicable. Here, this one, I need to trim this city. The city is currently about 15 seconds long. I need to trim it down to 12 seconds. Is that right? So what I've got to do is, all I'm going to do is set my length to be 12 seconds. And you'll see that my highlighted area is about 12 seconds. All I have to do is now I can move that around if I want by hitting the shift and keypad plus and minus. I'm just moving my selection, and I hit Command T for trim. There's that. Now I've got to nudge it 1 second earlier in time. Well, that's easy enough to do. Command Option keypad plus minus till my nudge value reads 1 second, and hit the minus key. Then I have to duplicate it on the next 3 tracks, proving that I'm not losing synchronization. All I have to do is with the F8 tool, press and hold the control key, which means constrain vertical, but notice how I'm only moving it. But if I control Option click, notice how I'm dragging a copy of it, and I'm not losing sync. I'm trying to drag it left, right, and it won't go left, right. It only goes up and down. Okay, what do we have next? Okay, so to get to the mix window, it's Command equals, which toggles mix edit window. And to toggle wide and narrow faders is Command Option M, M. And in order to toggle wide and narrow meters is Control Option Command and click on the meter. But wide narrow faders is Command Option M, is wide narrow faders. Okay, next is ADR. Oh, groups. I got to finish the mix, all the groups. All right, so I've got to create 4 groups called stuff 1, stuff 2, stuff 3, and stuff 4. So what I'm going to do is highlight the name of one and shift click the highlight name of the 4th one. Hit Command G for group. I'll call it stuff 0, shift up arrow, copy, paste 1, enter. Click this guy, shift click that guy, Command G for create a new group, paste 2, enter. I want to skip the aux track. I want to click that, shift click that, Command G, Command V for paste 3, and then skip the aux, skip the master, go over to these 4 audio tracks, shift click, Command G for group, Command V for paste, and hit the number 4. And now if I look at my groups list, I've got, hello. If I look at my groups, I've got stuff 1, stuff 2, stuff 3, stuff 4. Now I've got to create another group that's all the mono channels and the mono augs, right? So I click on one, shift click on the last one, and then hit Command G and call that FX group. Now you'll notice that these tracks have a capital E and this one has a lowercase e. The reason for that is that anytime there's a capital letter in the group, that means it's a member of 2 or more groups. This guy's only a member of one group, E, where this guy's a member of 2 or more groups. And you also notice that these bullets have circles around them, indicating the exact same thing. Now we have to go down here. If I'm going to click this one, I'm going to shift click all the way down to here, but I don't need the master fader, so I'm going to command click to unselect the master fader, hit Command G to create the group, and I'll call that SFX group, enter, and you'll notice the same thing is true. Capital F for those that are a member of 2 or more groups, lowercase f for those that are one group. Now I've got to make my track color and my group color the same colors. I can choose. I can make all my groups green, all blue, or all my tracks green. So what I'm going to do here is double click on my color tool, and it's going to show me that my tracks are blue and that my groups are not there. Really interesting. Yeah, oh, duh, because I have to select the group. So let me click on that guy. Now it's going to show me that my group is this green color. So I can change that. Let's make everybody orange, for example, today. So my group is orange and my tracks are orange. Yeesh. And now let's select my other group, which is my SFX group. So I'm going to click over here. That pre-selects all of my other tracks. Let's go sort of a purplish. So my groups are now purple and my tracks are now the same purple. Fuchsia! All right, are we good with that? Oh, while we're at it, you know what the heck, let's just do the master fader. We'll make that sort of sky blue. All right, I'm going to hurl. All right, what do you got next? I need to get out of this mixer. I'm going to throw up. Oh, right, so let's do that in here. All right, so on the master fader, let's look at our inserts, okay? I'm going to go to my insert, put an EQ on here. And so let's go over to EQs, and let's put this EQ on here. Now, in order to automate my master bypass, I can't just hit bypass. I've got to check several things. First of all, I've got to make sure that my track is in create new data mode. That's number one. Then I've got to bring up my command keypad 4 to make sure that my plugin is automation record enabled. If this is not red, then no matter how much automating I do on my plugin, none of it's going to get recorded or remembered. So I need to make sure this is orange for record. Then I have to go to this auto button, select master bypass, hit add, and hit OK. So now when I hit play, let me just mute the console for a second. So when I hit play, all I have to do, see how this bypass button is red? That means it's armed for record. All I have to do is hit that, and I can just bypass it all day long. So now when I hit play, let me go back to my mix window. Now when I hit play, back over here, you'll see that my bypass light goes on and off, and I'm not doing anything. It's just on and off and on and off. If I want to view the automation, what I can do is go down to my master fader and tell it to view the EQ master bypass, and you'll see all of my clicks right there. Okay. If I want, with my F8 tool, I can also draw in all these bypasses, ons and offs. I can also copy and paste those things. I can also nudge these things. All the automation is editable and nudgeable and all that stuff. All right. Next is automate the panning of the master fader left and right 3 times over 10 seconds, and it's okay to draw it in. Here's the deal. You cannot pan the master fader. That's all I have to tell the test guy. You cannot pan the master fader. Too many times I've had students say, man, I was just doing that last night. No, you weren't, because you cannot pan the master fader. Okay? What's next? All right, let's do that. So, ADR beeps. Let's go all the way up here to the FX track, and let's go to memory location 6, just because I can. I'm going to get rid of this, which is Command Keypad 4. Now, we have to set up beeps. Beeps are 1 frame in length, and they're about anywhere from 25 to 30 frames apart. So the first thing I have to do is call up my signal generator. So if I go to Audio Suite, Other, Signal Generator, use whatever parameters the tester gives you, but today we're going to pick a 2K tone, and the gain of this 2K tone is going to be -24, and we're going to use a sawtooth wave today. A triangle, let's use sawtooth today. So now I've got nothing, so what I have to do is make my selection. So I'm going to go over here. Whoa, see how I have groups still turned on? To disable groups, Command-Shift-G, and I've just got 1 track. Otherwise, I create 8 tracks of 1 beat, which is insanely loud. So what I'm going to do here is set my length to be hours, minutes, seconds, frames. I'm going to set it to be 1 frame in length. There's my 1 frame. Now, when I say process on my signal generator, it's going to create a sawtooth wave for this length. Hit process. There it is, right there. And this is what that sounds like. That sounds great. Let me unmute the console and solo this track. There we go. Okay. So the thing is, these beeps need to be about 24 to 30 frames apart. Let's pick 26 frames today. So what I'm going to do is put my insertion cursor at the start of my beat, which I click out here and hit tab. Then I'm going to set my length to be 26 frames, so hours, minutes, seconds, frames. Let's select 26. There's my length. So there's the beep and the space after the beep, just like a guy doing a drum count off. There's tick, 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 right? So now I need 2 more of these things. So including the silence, I'm going to hit Command D. There's 2 more of those guys. Command D is duplicate. Now I have to select from where I am all the way back to down here, the start of this first beep. So I do that by hitting Shift Option, right? Option tab means go to the previous. Shift Option tab is select to the previous. So I'm going to select to the previous. Edit, 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 edit. There's my 3 beeps. So it's going to be beep, 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 read the line. Okay? So I don't want to create new audio. I could consolidate this if I wanted to, or I could make a region group, Command Option G. This is not new audio. This is just a region group. This is all vapor audio. I mean, it's there, but it's a fake group. So now the cool thing about this is I can tail sync this anywhere I want. So let's say that my dialogue is going to start to be read at memory location 7. So let's get to 7. And then what I'm going to do is tail sync these beeps to 7. So now it's going to be beep, 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 read the line. That's my cue in to start reading the line. Are we okay with that? So now what I have to do is create a loop that is 5 seconds long. So let's do that. How do I create a loop that's 5 seconds long, including my beep? I'm going to go to the F7 selector tool. I'm going to go here to length and make it 5 seconds. Wow. I'm done with this signal generator. Now I have to hit record. If I hit record now, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to say, look, Goober, you got no tracks enabled, all right? I'm going to enable this track. It's going to say, look, Goober, you got no input. So let's give it an input. Any bogus input is fine. Then I arm it for record. Now, when I hit record, it's not going to record on this track, even though it's highlighted. It's not going to record on that track because it only records on the track that's armed. So now I have to record 5 loops. So let's hit Command Spacebar for record. Okay, sorry, it's playing the backgrounds at the same time. So there's 1 loop. Now to end the loop, you always end the loop on the start of the one after the number you want. So here's loop number 3, right? Here comes loop number 4. And now here's loop number 5. Now what I have to do is start it before it gets halfway through loop number 6. Anywhere there is fine. Okay. The reason why I do that is, well, let me show you what happens if I don't do that. Let's disable this guy. Let's arm this guy for record. Oops, got the same problems. Needs an input. All right, there you go. There's that input. Arm it for record. Now I'm going to select the same length. Watch what happens when I do it short. Here's the first loop. Actually, you want to stop it short. If I stop it long, watch what happens. Whoops, where's the rest of my audio? It gets lopped off, and it's really there, but it's hard to get to. Okay, so this is why you want to let your loop go back to the beginning and stop it on the start of after the last one. Now, in order to display these names, FX02, which is the track name, take number 1, loop number 5 is what all those numbers mean. If I want to disable those names, I can go under View, Region, and uncheck Name, and see how those names disappear. If there are no names there, you have to make them appear, which is View, Region, Name, and there they appear. Now, here's the deal. Without using the region list, I want to go to loop number 3. How do you do that? With the F7 tool, you can highlight the area, press and hold the Command key, and it shows you, here's my full-length loop, and then here's all my other takes for that loop. So all I have to do is select 3, and notice how number 3 is now in that space. Or if I want to go to number 2, I Command click with the F7 tool and go to 2. Or let's say I go to number 4. That's a very easy way to do that. Now here's the deal. Suppose this is a 3-line thing and I want 1 word from one take, 1 word from another take, and another word from another take. That's a little hairy. So what you do here is expand the alternates to a new playlist, and there they are. So here's the full length guy. That's the entire loop. We don't want that one. But this is our loop. So what I'm going to do is say, here's word 1, and in the middle there is word 2. So what I'm going to do is highlight that, shift, semicolon. Hello. All right, well, I'll shift click then. Oh, because the keyboard focus is in the wrong window. Highlight this area, shift, semicolon, and then hit Command E to separate regions. So now what I'm going to do is say, I want this word from that take, so I'm going to promote that one up there. Then in this area, I want that one to go up in that area, so I'll promote that one. And this one, I want that one, so I'll promote that one to go up in that area. So now I'm taking, of all the loops, what I did is I took a portion of each of these reads and just used different words from each one. What I did is with the F7 tool, I right-clicked, Command, click on it, and expand alternates to new playlist. And that's when this occurred. This stuff down here occurred.
Yeah, but how did you get to where you promote it to?
Well, it shows up here. So when I separate all these regions, let me separate all these regions. Now when I highlight one, watch what happens. When I highlight one, this guy is already selected. I just hit the go to the main track area. Highlight that one, go to the main track area. Hit that one, go to the main track. Okay, that's how we do all that. What's next? After all of this is clean up the session. Okay, so I'm going to go back to waveforms. I don't need to see that thing. I need to clean up the session, so I Command-Shift-U, Command-Shift-B, and then hit remove. That cleans up the session. We also have to bounce to disk a certain amount, whatever the length the tester says. So let's just say we're going to do that length. We need to bounce to disk. So we bounce to disk with Command-Option-B. What? Can't with record enable, so take record enable off. And we need to do it for CD quality. So do we want stereo? Yeah, we want the stereo bus mainly because those are all set for stereo. We want a WAV file. We want stereo interleave because multi-mono is not going to help us. .L.R is not going to help us. And a mono summed is a mono mix, not good for a stereo CD. So we want stereo interleaved. We want 16-bit, 44.1, and we want, and this is a cheap client, so we'll give them equal quality. And we always use convert after bounce, less taxing on the CPU at the same time, and you can bill for that extra time. So if it's a 2-hour song, you bill 2 hours for bounce and about an hour for conversion, depending on quality. You can bill for that time. Okay. So you hit bounce. It says, where do you want to place it? Well, we'll call it this. Hit that, and it's going to take 6 seconds to do that. So you just wait it out. And there is that bounced to disk. No worries. Now we've got to clean up the session, which we did, Command-Shift-U, Command-Shift-B. And then what we have to do is File, Save, Copy in. And then we have to specifically tell it, well, it's 48K 24-bit wave. Grab all of the audio. Do not grab any of the fades. And you've got to remember to include the movie file. You'll get marked wrong if you don't include the movie file. You hit OK, you call it something else, copy of Pro Tools Guide, save it to the desktop, not a problem. Hit save, whoosh. It takes longer to say than it does to do. And then what we do is we're going to save our project, Command S, then we're going to close the session, Command Shift W, then we're going to quit Pro Tools, Command Q, and that, my friends, is the end of the Pro Tools skills test.